open-hearted in a way, but there's some heaviness, some sadness still. But I think the yoga is really helping to relieve some of that and create a bit more lightness in spirit. But yeah, the people are very earnest, very true, very good-hearted people, I can tell.
Thank you.
I was a dancer at that point, and I was dancing and choreographing. So a friend and myself, we were choreographing for a dance production that was happening in Canada, and I was just really touched by all of the events that were happening here in Sarajevo, and really felt quite upset about them. But we were in our teens, our late teens, and there's not a lot you can do. But we choreographed a piece, a dance piece that was in dedication. So in the program and in the show, it was dedicated to Sarajevo, and it was to a song that was called "If These Walls Could Speak," and it's a beautiful song. You can Google it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And now you're here
Yeah.
teaching yoga.
Yeah. So it's been kind of 20 years of me sort of having this desire to come and to be here and to see this country and the people here in this place. So it's really special for me too. When I first started practicing, we didn't have any traditional Ashtanga really classes in our city. So there was really only one yoga studio that we could go to, and it was a mix of different types of yoga. So there was some flow, some power yoga, some vinyasa, some Ashtanga.
That's almost because it isn't but pink wings.
Listen to harmony now.
And so we kind of practiced a mix of all different kinds of things, but they did offer a few primary series classes and a few more traditional Ashtanga style classes. So I did get a taste of what that was like, and David Williams came and taught a workshop at one point. He was the first Ashtanga yoga teacher that I ever met, and his workshop was the first workshop I ever attended, and so then I really got this sort of the idea that there was this practice called Ashtanga yoga, and it followed a series, and there was primary series and intermediate series, and you practiced 6 days a week and took moon days off. And before that, I didn't really know, so I was just practicing yoga. And then after I kind of found out about that, then I was doing a lot more reading and trying to get as much knowledge as I could, but there wasn't a lot of yoga resources at the time. There was only like a couple books, and there wasn't much on the practice. I think at that time there was really only David Swenson's practice manual and Pattabhi Joyce's Yoga Mala, and that was pretty much the resources on Ashtanga yoga practice. So so I just started practicing, and I had this deep yearning to go to India to meet Pattabhi Joyce.
I don't see my brush
We'll find it.
anywhere.
So then that kind of drew me to India to meet Pattabhi Joyce.
Right.
I mean, I was doing a degree in philosophy and religious studies at the time.
It's for my brush.
It's not here. Maybe Reggie has it. Go see.
Shevka took it.
Shevket, go
He's
see.
brushing his hair. Go find it.
So I was doing a degree in religious studies and philosophy, and 2 degrees. And so I really was interested in things with roots and tradition and origins and something authentic. And I'd been studying Buddhism and Indian philosophy, and I really wanted, when I felt like the Ashtanga yoga practice and it had a lineage and a guru, and there was people practicing it before, and it was like a whole tradition, and there was there was a philosophy behind it, and the connection to the Yoga Sutras, and it just really resonated with me. And I wasn't really interested in experimenting so much. I just wanted to have something that was authentic and would produce transformation or change. So that's what kind of hooked me, is that I felt like doing the practice, doing it regularly, doing it daily, it had a method, and that method was producing results in a very significant way in my life. So I just dove into that. Oh, there's lots of little changes. I mean, Guruji, when I met him at 89 years old, he was still super strong and adjusting and teaching pranayama, and it was in the new shala, so I mean there wasn't that big change, but the new shala had just opened the year before, at the end of 2002, the beginning of 2003. So it was only a year old. There was only about 60 students there my first trip, so it wasn't a big scene. We all knew each other. We all got to know each other. Yeah, it was a small community of practitioners. And if you went regularly, which we did, we went every year, sometimes 2 times a year. We could all stay for longer periods. So some people would stay for a year or 2 years. Other people would stay for 6 months. So we all got to know each other really well. It wasn't, barely anybody came for 1 month. It was, 1 month was like a super short trip, and now it seems like the majority of people come for 1 month.
Yeah.
Oh, so much changed that way. Personally, I mean, when I came to this practice, when I went to India my first trip, I was 24 years old, and I had been a dancer and had a lot of issues, like a lot of body image issues, a lot of depression, a lot of substance issues, so a lot of eating disorder issues. So when I came to this practice, I was still, recovering from those somewhat, and then India just really, it was like a home for me. It gave me myself back. I felt like a child there the first time I went. I felt totally, I don't know, like I connected to something that was like not available to me emotionally or intellectually since I was, like maybe 7 years old or less. So I felt like that part of me that was just really open and innocent and true and real and alive and like loving life really opened up. It like this shell kind of broke open for me, and that really healed so much stuff in my life. But it was going to that place and just having that wonderment, and everything was different and new, and the practice and everything was really deep, and it just broke something open for sure.
And it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what it is about India, but it is transformational journey with them.
It's a really unique place. And I mean, even India's changing. It's becoming more modern, it's becoming more materialistic. But, it was like going back in time to a place that, I mean, it's just so different from the rest of the world, where there was like ox carts and horses and bicycle rickshaws and people walking. I don't know, it just takes you back in time to a simpler way of life and being. And of course now, I mean, it's also changing and evolving, but it's, back then it was really special that way. It was, there's also like a kismet, there's sort of a destiny, sort of, I don't know, things just sort of happen there. It's like everything's karma and kismet, your karmas come to fruition, and then you kind of have this like, there's also this destiny showing up all the time. And I don't know, things are really, the whole population of India, especially South India, particularly South India, because it's, has probably a larger Hindu population than the north part of India, but South India is like very traditional in its origins. It's very much like untouched by other cultures and people and times, and it seems like the whole South India really is like connected to this idea of God and oneness, yeah, or just like that everything happens for a reason, and like, focused on this, and it's, I don't know, you can't help but be touched by it and changed by it.
Transformed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Everybody's thinking about transformation on some level, like spiritual transformation. Everything's named after gods there.
Yeah.
The convenience store.
Everything is alive.
The restaurant. It's all like so much focuses on God. I mean, albeit many different forms and varieties, but
names. Yeah.
Names, it's all the time. Everything's divine. You know, so you really kind of get hit with that. I mean, personally, I feel like the physical obstacles are, you know, they're easier to overcome than some of the mental obstacles, like doubt or, you know, lack of conviction, lack of faith, lack of trust, you know, negative thinking, sort of just life in general pulling you in so many different directions that it's hard to focus your energy into a spiritual practice or discipline. I think those obstacles are a lot more difficult to overcome in some ways, because it really takes a strong like fortitude and willpower and determination in you, and a strong ability to just like be convicted that the results are going to be more beneficial than what your like human nature wants to do, which is usually like take a holiday and check out. You know, it's hard to stay conscious for long periods of time. It's like a muscle, you know, to like really be aware and to stay conscious for long periods of time. You have to train yourself to do that.
To differentiate between the mind talking and the letting practice.
Yeah, and like we all kind of want to check out, you know, we all want to just like turn on the TV and like zone out, or, you know, get on the computer and zone out, or read a book and check out, and you know, there's all kinds of ways. I mean, those are somewhat healthy ways, but there's other ways too, right, that are less healthy. You know, smoking, drinking, whatever. It's just like shutting off this sort of, this consciousness, this awareness in a way, right? And so it's hard to stay really aware and really conscious in our actions and our attitudes and in our convictions. You know, it's hard to sustain things for a long period of time. It's easy to start things. It's easy to create things. It's difficult to sustain things for a long period of time. But that's where the practice comes in, right? That's why it's called a practice, is because every day, you know, we talked a little bit about this. It's like every day you just have to show up. You just have to do something. You just have to like be there and say, I'm open, I'm here, I'm gonna practice. And even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when you feel like you're getting nowhere, you know, even if it's just a little bit, if that's all you can manage to do, at least you showed up, at least you did something, at least you were there and open and conscious, and you're developing and cultivating that habit of being present in your life. Why do we practice? I don't know what I said this weekend.
What's in your heart?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, volition.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we practice daily because we have to keep cleaning the slate. We have to keep making that space to have what's in ourselves come out, to show up, right? Yeah, otherwise we, you know, we go back. We like go down. We don't keep lifting ourselves up. And so even though it's challenging to do something every day that's helping to lift us up, to like kind of give us that extra energy, that extra focus, that extra awareness, that extra ability to be present in our daily lives. It takes effort and energy, but if you do it every day, it takes less effort and energy than if you stop for a while and then you come back to it, and then you stop for a while and you come back to it. It's like you're always just like going there and then it drops down, and then you go there and it drops down, right? It's like in the Yoga Sutras they call it, it's an obstacle. It's like a failure to attain firm ground. You know, you're always kind of going and then stopping, then going, stop, and that is very disheartening in the practice of yoga. You can't do that for a long time. You know, you can't practice and kind of flirt around with it and remain half committed for a long time without either fully diving in or stopping. Because that feeling of like, I'm getting somewhere and then I drop it. And now I'm getting somewhere and I drop it. It's just really like, it's really disheartening. So doing a little bit every day and like practicing every day to help create that centeredness, to help, you know, clear the mirror of yourself inside, to direct the mind towards the divine with us inside, towards God inside, towards your connection, your ability to actually connect to God inside. You know, daily kind of bringing your awareness, your attention to that is like developing that habit of mind, that habit to be conscious, to be present, to be aware, to be alive. And then your life can expand and touch others, right? Without that, it's just like this, it's like a shell of a life. It's very selfish, very hollow, very, you know, it's like the shell of the asana.
Yeah, it's
you know?
physical.
Yeah, yeah. They're just postures. They're empty. There's nothing inherently magical about an asana.
Right.
It's what you're filling it with. It's the intention. It's the consciousness. It's how you're directing your mind while you're in the asana. It's, you know, the asana itself is just what we can see. There's nothing to it. Any gymnast, any dancer, anybody who's physically gifted can do asanas, no problem.
Yeah.
There's nothing yogic about asanas except that they come from India and they're part of a bigger tradition. That's yoga, but yoga's about mind. You know, yoga's about mind control. It's about mind medicine. It's about consciousness, awareness. Where is your mind going? What's it being directed towards? Is it being directed towards your upliftment? Or is it being directed towards sensuality and materialism? You know? It can drag you down or it can lift you up.
So you choose every time you come to the mat?
Yeah, every time you come to the mat, you choose. Every time you open your front door, you choose.
Sure.
Every time
Open your mouth.
you open your mouth, you choose. Every time you wake up in the morning, you choose. You have to keep choosing it again and again and again and again.
Life is a choice.
Yeah. It's like even, you know, your partner, your marriage, your children, everything. You keep having to choose them. It's not like you make a choice and then that choice is just going to take care of itself and sustain itself. You know? It's like sustaining it for a long period of time is difficult. You have to keep choosing it. You have to keep saying, actually, I'm choosing this person. Actually, I'm choosing this practice. Actually, I'm choosing this child. You know, whatever it is, you have to accept it. You have to choose it. To create, you know, that motivation, that interest, that fulfillment of what you've already started. I think if you can come and find a Mysore class, it's the best way to learn yoga. If you've never done any yoga in your whole life, Mysore class is the very best way to start doing yoga because it requires absolutely no prior experience, no real skill. It just requires you to commit to coming. So in that way, Ashtanga is difficult because it requires you to commit. It requires you to choose to come, to show up. That's difficult, right? So if you can do that, if you can just say, yeah, I'm just going to show up, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, and do a little bit of what I'm taught, it comes so quickly. It comes so easily in a way. It's not painful. It's not troublesome. It's not, it's not even really, it's hard work, but it's not like, you're not doing very advanced, challenging asanas. Anyone can do it. Absolutely anyone can do it. But you have to commit to coming. You have to commit to getting up. You have to commit to doing it. And that's actually a lot more difficult in some ways than challenging asanas, right? Like we just spoke about. But I think it's just difficult in that it's not really the kind of practice that you can just do once a week and get benefit from. You get like maybe very minimal benefit doing once a week. You'll get more benefit from doing it daily, but a little bit,
Yeah.
There's kind of, pain is like maybe a complex kind of topic, because what's painful to one person might not be painful to another person.
Precisely.
There's definitely pain within a posture, within an asana that's not necessarily good pain. That kind of pain you need to divert yourself away from, sharp pains, burning pains, pains that's like where you feel like something's not right. That kind of pain is maybe not great in the asanas, but the kind of pain that is like a closed body opening is okay.
Right.
The kind of pain that's like
transforming, you're changing.
Yeah, all change is gonna have some sensation with it. All awakening, the breaking of the shell that encloses our understanding, right? That's like the pain. All of that, there's always some pain involved. Life is full of pain. Emotional pain, mental pain, physical pain. Pain is just a part of living. It's not causing injury. I think that's the big thing. It's like, you shouldn't do things that are injuring or harming yourself. But pain is mostly, our perception of a certain sensation. So it's an interesting topic that way.
A very broad one. But there's a pain coming from watching television every day and eating unhealthy every day. Maybe not pain now, but in
pain later.
5 years, 15, 20 years, the pain is coming. But in doing yoga, hopefully in 20 years we'll handle the old age.
And we do all kinds of things. We do all kinds of things that give us gratification in the moment and cause us pain later. And we keep doing them, and we don't seem to say, oh, that's that big hangover I had the other day that was so painful, drinking's not good for me. But then we just do all these bad things again that aren't really good for us, right? But then we're doing something good and it's creating a certain sensation, and we think, oh, I shouldn't do it because it's causing pain. It's like, we do all kinds of things. We're just used to that kind of pain. We're used to the pain that comes from, overindulging in certain things. So it's not such a problem for us. But the kind of pain that is about like changing ourselves in a way that's healthy or good. If you go jogging every morning, that's painful. Like, there's some pain involved in that. Like running marathons, oh my gosh, so much pain.
Yes.
Right?
For sure.
So, anything you do, any discipline that you commit yourself to that's a physical discipline or causing, your body you're demanding something of yourself on any kind of level, a certain sensation is going to accompany it that's maybe not pleasant in the moment, but the rewards are high. The rewards are good.
The reason why we come back to our...
Yeah. The having the child, the giving the birth, that's, temporary. But the raising the child, that's permanent, that's daily, that's where the practice really comes into its testing phase.
Your asanas.
We can walk around doing all these 2-hour practices and set up our life exactly as we want it, and think that we're so spiritual. But I mean, throw a small person into the mix who has demands and wants and needs, and is gonna not let you practice because they need you to play with them or pay attention to them, who has their own wills and volitions and their own ideas about the world and demands on your energy and time. And I mean, then you really get to see how spiritual you are.
And how big of a yogi.
Yeah, how big of a yogi you are. I mean, I think that's why Guruji always said to people, you have a family, have children. Because, I mean, in one way, it's a true test to see, can you keep your mind steady if you don't get what you want? If you don't get your hour and a half to practice every morning? Yeah, if you don't get your wants met, if you don't get your under or over 4 hours of sleep, can you keep your mind steady? Can you find peace? Can you create yoga in your mind, in your life, in your body, in your house, in your relationships, when things are really hard in your life? That's the test of the yoga. That's the practice, right? But then also you get so much love and so much joy. And you think you know love and you think you know joy before you have a child, but nothing compares. Nothing compares.
That's very sweet.
And it's like just so much light and energy, and they're little, tiny gods walking the earth in a way, and they're the best mirror because they just show you yourself again and again and again. For better or for worse, and then you get to work on it, right? You see, oh yeah, I want this person to be the best person that they can be, but in order for them to be the best person that they can be, I have to show up as the best version of myself daily for them. That's yoga, 24 hours yoga. Yeah. So it's a really amazing practice. It's really takes the practice to the next level. I mean, that's why they call it 7th series, right? Because it's so much beyond asana. Yeah. And when the asanas come, the asanas go. You can practice asana maybe to your 50, your 60, then you're probably going to be a little more interested in maintaining a nice primary series, something that's, just keeping the body in its healthy shape, toning muscles, creating a nice feeling, isn't too torturous, isn't too hard, just something that's energizing and helping you live a good life. When you're old, it's like, what are the asanas? They're not going to keep you warm at night. They're not going to take care of you. They're not going to give you grandchildren. They're not going to, give you joy in their successes. Children grow.
Family.
They change. They give such a wide, broad experience of life. So it's life. I mean, isn't that what yoga's about? It's about sort of connecting to our own mortality, our own death, our own finitude, our own, realizing that this world is so transient and so impermanent, and nothing's staying the same, and it's all changing, and we're all gonna end up, moving on. And really connecting to that, really realizing how temporary our existence is, so that we can connect to something that isn't temporary, that's permanent, but it's not us. It's not our ego. And then really enjoy life, really love, really feel that joy of life in us daily,
With the first breath when you wake up in the morning.
Kids have that. They have that automatically. They wake up, they're like, it's morning!
Let's
And you're like, oh God, it's morning. It's like they're the best teachers because they have that. They're so happy to be alive all the time. Just keep looking forward. Keep practicing, stay present, stay open to possibility. you know? I think we think a lot of things are impossible. We think we can't do a lot of things, but we can. Just that things might change, that you might show up differently than you're expecting. And then, yeah, just keep going forward, keep moving forward. And realize that the path isn't linear necessarily. It's not just like you're gonna just keep going, next one, next one, next one, next one. Sometimes there's setbacks. Sometimes there's detours.
For the reason.
Yeah, you just stick with it. Just little by little, every day, do what you can do. And your practice will deepen, your practice will grow. And also, like, the asana is there to help us. It's there to facilitate a deeper awakening, a deeper understanding of yoga within us. But the asana is not the goal of yoga. It's the tool.
That's right.
So, you know, it's good to use the tool to help us awaken ourselves. But if we think that the tool is the goal, we're kind of missing
Emptiness.
the point. Yeah. You're gonna one day wake up and be like, what am I doing this for? It's all meaningless.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good place to wake up to.
Yeah.
Because it makes you start to really dig in and look to find those answers.
Real essence of
Yeah.
asanas.
Yeah.
Yoga. Also true. Well, this has been a truly transformative week for myself speaking, and I hope for the rest of the people who came to your workshop. And we are definitely looking forward to have your amazing energy and your presence next time.
Thank you.
Hopefully next year or
I hope
whenever.
so too.
So thank you so very much
Thank you.
for this gift.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Yeah.
Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam Bhajami 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 Govindam Hari Purusham Enam Vanvantam Aravindalaya Daksham Bharavatam Samasitam Purasundarangam Kandarpakotikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam Bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Anganiyasya Sakaleyasya Diyavriti Manti Tasyanti Panti Kalanti Chiram Jaganti Anganiyasya Sakaleyasya Diyavriti Manti Tasyanti Panti Kalanti Chiram Jaganti Anandajnaya Sadhu Jalanurasya Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam Bhajami 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 Govindam Hari Purusham Angani Asya Sagalam Dhiraviti Manti Pasyanti Kanti Kalyanti Chiram Jatanti Angana Jalaya Sadhu Dhalarasya Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam bhajami 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 Govindam Hari Purusham Ananda Chalaya Sadhu Dhalarasya Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Dhammam bhajami Govindam Hari Purusham Govindam Hari Purusham Govindam Hari Purusham
Mandalakaram Vyaptam Jena Characharam Tatparam Darshitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gnanatimirandasya Gnananjanan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha